Good morning again. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I have often thought that we could probably just hang out and chat all morning and the hour would pass by very quickly, and that is true. But we have an amazing group of people to hear from today, and it's just going to be fantastic. I'm having a good time already, and I know that you will be as well, so I'd like to usher you into that. Good morning again. Welcome to Catalyst. Catalyst, if you haven't been here before, is a place for community conversations and connections that matter and inspire. And so we're really, really thrilled that you're here to be a part of that. It's a safe place to explore some issues that might be challenging, that might be difficult, but they're facing our local community. We're diverse people from diverse backgrounds, diverse perspectives, and we want to work together for the benefit of our community. Our hope this morning is that you connect with one another, the people at your table. Sometimes you know everyone. You might even be related to everyone at your table. Or maybe you've got brand new folks you've not seen before. But we can build trust, we can work together, and we can impact our community for everyone's benefit in a wonderful way. If you don't follow us on social media, why not? Really, there's no reason not to. John Torres will personally bake you muffins and deliver them to your house for every follower we get, whether you like it or not. There is a sign-in sheet at your table. We'd love for you just to sign in so we know who's here. We want to take a moment to recognize our sponsors who make Catalyst possible. Although we enjoy being here, there is a little bit of a cost associated with that. So a special thank you goes out to Oak Valley Community Bank today for their sponsorship. Oak Valley Community Bank's mission is to cultivate lifelong customers by executing a unique brand of relationship service. Seamless team participation develops the individual and drives our commitment to continually improve, optimizing investor returns, and enriching the communities in which we live. So thank you, Oak Valley Community Bank, for making this morning's meeting possible, and to all of our other sponsors as well, Rolling F Credit Union, First Valley Credit Union, and the good folks that make things happen for us. One of my favorite parts of Catalyst are the table talks. It's an opportunity to make eye contact with someone and get to know them, and maybe even get to know their opinion on something you don't get to hear about very often. And perhaps it's also your opportunity to get your opinion across to someone who you might think doesn't listen to you as well as they should. So today, there were some names just there in the room. I'm not gonna highlight them, but at more than one table, I heard some names being called out. We're gonna have an awesome discussion this morning. So we are going to do some table talks. There are going to be questions on the screen. I will get out of the way so you can look at them. All I ask is that you give everybody an opportunity to talk. But we want to start out today. Who is someone in your life who quietly makes a difference in the community and makes them, and what makes them impactful? So someone in your life, they make a quiet and wonderful impact in the community. And then what's the best example you've seen recently of neighbors helping neighbors? Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves, and we'll be back in a moment. Thanks. All right, folks, good morning again. We are experiencing some of the technical challenges that happen in a building this age, but that is all right. I hope you had a fantastic time discussing neighbors and joyful things and folks who serve our community. That is our theme of the day. There's one point. So Dave Rogers is here. He's one of my old Toastmaster friends, and now every time I say so or it's gonna register in me like a shot from the doctor. So the morning just got more interesting for me. Yes. We want to highlight some of the things that happen in our local community. I love Calvin and Hobbes. How many people are old enough to remember the comic strip Calvin and Hobbes? Okay, fantastic. Calvin and Hobbes was a comic strip from the 80s and 90s, absolutely fantastic. And I loved it so much, one of my cats is named Hobbes today. So I'd love to read this to you because it is a little bit far away. But here we have Calvin in class. Miss Wormwood, could we arrange our seats in a circle and have a little discussion? Specifically, I'd like to debate whether cannibalism ought to be grounds for leniency in murders since it's less wasteful. And then we see Calvin. He's in the corner. He's in the dunce cap, which we don't do anymore, obviously. He says, for some reason, they'd rather teach us stuff that any fool can look up in a book. This particular comic strip resonated me at a pretty young age, and it stuck with me to this day. There are a lot of things that we can look up in books. We can Google almost anything and learn about just about any amount of knowledge that the world has to offer. With the invention of AI, it can even help problem solve or sort some of that information out for you. You don't always get the right answer or exactly what you're looking for, but our ability to know things is significantly greater than it was 20 years ago, significantly. Today, however, what cannot be replaced by looking things up in books or with AI or with Google is the unique experience and perspective and passion of any human individual. That is not something that can be relayed through books or a Google search. And so today we have the privilege and the opportunity of hearing from three amazing and fantastic individuals, and they're going to be sharing things that cannot be looked up in a book. So my invitation to you at this time is to devote to the next 30 minutes your entire attention to the folks who will be up here. A little bit of background that what brought us to today. For our bridge builders, we sent out surveys to well over 2,000 individuals. That's 2,000 individuals directly, and then there was a social media plea as well. And we were looking for people who exemplify exceptional leadership, integrity, and service. Through their dedication to uplifting others, advancing civic engagement, and strengthening the well-being of those around them, they create a lasting and meaningful impact. And out of that in-depth search, there were three people who rose to the top very clearly. And I'm going to introduce them at this time. Once I'm finished with everyone, I'll invite all three of them to come up as our not just our award recipients, but our panel today. We're going to start with Wanda Jones, founder and CEO. Absolutely. Wanda Jones, founder and CEO of Daniel House, a residential recovery program for men, providing a structured, supportive environment aimed at helping men reclaim their futures through sobriety, life skills, development, and community support. There are people occasionally in society that we don't know what to do with, and sometimes we give up on them. Wanda has reached out and said, we remember you, we've not given up on you, and pulled them to a place where they can get to be part of society again. So thank you, Wanda. Kate Trompeter, organizational and systems coach. Look at that. You're very photogenic, Kate. Look at that. Wow. Starring in The Devil Wears Prada 3. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we have a limited time. I need to stop myself. Organizational systems coach. Kate helps design and facilitate the collaborative processes which support the launch and sustainability of coalitions and networks, coaches and leaders and teams as they navigate uncertainty and complexity. It is a challenging job. It's really difficult, and really only Kate can do it. And she's made a huge impact locally in our community. So we thank you for being here, Kate. Kate also loves ice cream as long as it's not mint.
Dave too.
Dave also does not like mint ice cream. No, it's not a mint family. What about you, Joe?
I'm down for the mint.
Down for mint, okay. Yes, I'm being reminded to keep on track. Thank you. And rounding out our panel today, Brad Hahn. Brad Hahn. Brad serves professionally as a principal at CHG Structural, a civil engineering firm, and is widely recognized as a leading expert in seismic upgrades for hospitals. I had 2 jokes regarding seismic things in hospitals, and I scratched them both before I came up here. That's okay. Beyond his professional work, he's devoted countless hours, and I can attest to that, countless hours, to community service, including serving as a Modesto City Council member, chair of Focus on Prevention, president of Modesto Neighborhoods Incorporated and chairman of the Stanislaus Homeless Alliance. Please welcome Brad Hahn. So if all three of you wouldn't mind coming up at this time, Marvin, I'm going to invite you up as well. Please welcome all of these good folks up here. And I'm going to invite up Mayor Sue Zwallen as well, if you'd like to come on up. So please welcome the mayor. Not everyone is a morning person, and it's 7 o'clock. And Mayor Sue, you're here every month for this, so we really appreciate it. You're fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and give this to you at this time. Yeah, you could. Here.
Either one. This one. Oh, that's all right. Whichever works.
Marvin, let's keep that.
I don't know.
That's perfect.
All right. I'll just make this really brief, but you know what came to mind when the three here were introduced is not only are they obviously, deserving in every way of these awards, but they put in the sweat equity. And by that I mean they do the heavy lifting. So, I think of Brad. When I picture Brad, I picture him hammering structures on the streets of downtown Modesto when it was decided that we could have outdoor dining. I wasn't on the council at that time. I wasn't mayor, but that decision was made. He was out there with the hammers and the nails, putting the structures together. So it's not just talk. With Kate, she's tackled things that no one in this country would want to try to tackle, but yet she went in the deep end, shall we say. And I know the same for Wanda, that working in the emergency room with people that struggle with substance use disorder and severe mental illness and all the things that our patients struggled with there, and she's in the midst of that. So it's the real deal up here, not just titles and all the things that, words that can explain a lot, but they don't really get to the heart of what these three people do. So just very quickly, I have certificates. Thank you. If you hold that. So a certificate of congratulations for each person. On behalf of the Modesto City Council, I would like to express congratulations on receiving the Bridge Builders Award from City Ministry Network, presented on June 4th, 2026. And I have a certificate for each one of you. So here is for Brad. There you go, Brad. Here is for Kate. And here is for Wanda. One more comment about, I can't resist, but this is not really that early. Since I was 18 years old and went to nursing school, our shift started at 7, and I had Miss Champagne questioning me probably about 6:30 a.m., starting with every one of my patients. So this is 7 o'clock, 7:30. We're well into the morning here. So I encourage everyone to come every first Thursday of the month to City Ministry Network. It's a great place to be. Thank you. There we go.
Well, thank you, three. We are going to ask some questions of you and let them get to know you.
Yes, sir.
You ready for that? And Brad has the mic, and then he'll hand it around. But before we do this, if you didn't know this, Brad and I went to high school together. So he's way older than me. I was a protege. But just to prove to everybody, was I as good an athlete than I think I was in high school?
In the 1800s.
It's as good as I thought I was.
It's always different in your head what's happening. Marvin was I can never forget him running it. He was a fullback running into the line straight up. Man, just knocking people over.
But you never talked to me. You were a senior and I was only a freshman. Yeah, thank you though. I just wanted to be funny, and I need to get serious.
Either way, I'm trying to work on it.
I'll work on that, my humor a little bit. Well, I do want to thank you. We did send out over 2,000, and people think the world of the three of you. So no matter what you think of yourself, especially sometimes and during the day when you think, what the heck am I doing? People think the world of you, and you been an incredible community builder. So I have some questions, and then let people answer and just get to know you a little bit. So just what's your specific community building assignment today? So we're going to ask you next about the why. But right now, just share with people, what do you specifically do in the community? Why would people consider you a community bridge builder? And we'll start with Brad and then just come this way.
Well, I've been thrust into situations more because of just being there and seeing the issues that need to be solved. And as an engineer, I'm a professional problem solver, and that's why my wife has told me that I cannot retire, because she's not interested in being solved. And by the way, today's our 49th anniversary. And instead of coming here and listening to me, she's sleeping. But no, I just where there's issues that people don't tackle, to make our community better, we just have to do better. You know, I think that's what got me involved in this, is we can be better than what we think we are, and as a community. And I think that's what I just gravitate to, those kind of things. And they're mostly not very easy problems. They're mostly very difficult problems. But anyway, and we'll get into that later.
All right, Ms. Kate.
Thanks, Marvin. I like the way you asked that question. My community assignment, I think that I've been assigned to creating spaces for folks to convene in meaningful ways, and so I do that professionally through Connect 4. It was in my introduction. I just facilitate a lot of collaborative spaces and trying to connect people together to solve really complex challenges that have to do with quality of life conditions in our community. But I'm also the founder of Modesto Porch Fest, and I also organize Mod Shop. And so thank you. Well, some of you may like it, and some of you who live in the neighborhood might not. So it's all connected to me through that thread of like just creating spaces for people to connect in meaningful ways.
Fantastic. And Dave, did he?
Oh yeah, my husband.
Yeah. Oh, there he is. Did
Yeah.
you have anything to do with this Porch Fest too, or is it just her?
I just play.
Oh, just
Yeah,
play.
he just
Okay.
plays on like 17 different porches.
Miss Wanda,
Yes,
what's
sir.
your assignment in the community as you build it?
My assignment is to help build the family structure. In my 23 years of recovery and learning from the mistakes that I made as a wife and a mother, as my amends or my give back to society, is seeing the unseen. And I believe that men often feel unseen, and I know the cracks of society that they fall in. They'll go and check off a few boxes and end up in the revolving door. And so I believe my assignment is to let particularly men know that they're seen, they're heard, and they're valued, and that their brother needs them. And so,
Now, you keep the microphone, so that's the what for the three of you. But what's the why? What is your passion? How did you end up in this specific assignment? We all know, all of us who are in the community, we all know there's trumpets blowing all the time. Join this and join that and be a part of this. Why this specific one? How did you end up narrowing and focusing on this particular thing that you're doing?
again, I saw how many of my brothers and sisters that were in recovery lost and not having any real resource, if you would, meeting them where they were. And one of the things that I prayed about was, should I work with men or should I work with women or women with children? And what I know is that through my own failed relationships, that I see us as a society, that men have lost their place in the household. And that I also know that there's a way to give them a hand up, not a hand out, and men will run with it. Say it again, so I can get back to the point.
Oh, the why.
The why
Yeah.
is
Looks like you're
because-
answering it. Go ahead. keep
Okay,
going.
okay. Well,
You're doing well.
the passion is that other people help me along my way without any, for lack of a better word, any strings attached. They met me at my point of need. And what I've seen in the work that I've been doing with the men is that once you give them an opportunity, generally, they will grab hold and run with it.
I do have a question for you, because I've talked with you numerous times, and then I'll get over here. At the season of your life, the season that you're in right now, a lot of people in your season, or my season, would have said, I'm just gonna, chuck it and just sit on the couch and watch TV. Real quick, what was it that motivated you to, at the season of your life, to say, my life is not over, I've got things to get done?
God would not leave me alone because people help me, and we have an obligation, I believe, as a society to give back. And people help me in a way that only God could have sent them at that point in my life. And that's what I want to be.
Never once did you say season. Good job, Wanda.
No, I'm not seasoned.
You knew what I was trying to do.
Yes, I am a woman of a certain age.
A woman of a certain age. Write it down. Okay. Why? What is it? What drove you to and moved you to be the facilitator, the strategic coach that you are?
I think that there have been a series of moments in my life where I've been witness to a different way of being together that I think is now more important than maybe it's ever been, at least in my lifetime. And once you see that, like what's possible when we stop advocating responsibility for each other and seeing that we actually belong to one another, I think you can't unsee it. And so that certainly drives me. I think that another part of it is I had early modeling. I came up in a family that valued service, valued not othering people. I have lots of very concrete memories of that being instilled in me in a very early age. So that certainly drives me as well. And I think the other thing is, like, I really want to live in a community that my children enjoy and that my neighbors enjoy, and that, people can leave, that's okay. I'm not one of the people that say that people can't leave. I just don't want people running away from Modesto. And so I love that. I love that I can make a contribution to creating spaces that people want to stay in. So those are some things that come to mind for me.
And how did you discover that your strategic coaching and what you do with orgs and individual leaders, how did you know that this was what I needed to do?
I did not know.
You did not.
I've been working at
Just
Center for Human
stumbled on it.
Services for like 14 years, and I had this big plan to be their next executive director, and everything just kind of, I don't know, I just got woken up to something, and I took a chance. And I think that one of the reasons I know is that, or that I came to know, was that there were a lot of people who took a chance on me, and allowed me to discover that this was really the work that I was supposed to be doing, that I could be a real center of gravity for hard conversations and creative thinking and thinking better together, and then I got in flow.
That's great.
And I've been able to watch her through that process, and it's been a wonderful thing to see her blossom and learn from her, honestly, because there's principles of how to get people together and how to deal with difficult problems and how to honor relationships. And if anything I say, don't forget relationships is everything. None of us could do any of this stuff without being able to call on relationships of many of you. And so you all play a part in everything that we do. And people, with the question that we had earlier about, who's that person? That person's my wife, who doesn't do anything with me with respect to all this stuff that we're talking about. But she's what enables me by giving me that support, and that's her role, and she loves it. And so, and she doesn't like showing up to things like this because she just, she's in the background. But that, I couldn't possibly do anything that I'm doing without the relationships all around. And for me, the spark was wanting my kids to want to stay in Modesto. And I grew up on Elm Street over by Kansas, and that if you go drive down there and see a little boy that's all dirty and looks like, where's his mother? That was me. And I had 3 brothers, and we lived over there, and graduated college, got married, and I just saw us, a valley town, of course more cars are stolen here than anywhere else because we're Modesto, we're a valley town. And you roll over and the next thing comes and they kick you in the ribs again. And I wanted to rise above that. And I think one of the pivotal points that I had nothing to do with was the Gallo Center for the Arts. A valley, no good town doesn't have that. And that was the beginning, but yes, we can push through because we always get to that spot. And we also always blame government. Why isn't government doing this? Well, government can't do a bunch of that stuff. But that's what sparked me to go become a council member and then learn and just begin to do.
Talk a little bit just on a focus that you've had on neighboring.
Well,
why neighboring? How did that come
it's
about?
kind of at the core of who you are as a community. You know, Porch Fest just happened, and I live on Magnolia, and we actually had Mo Band at our place, but I'd never been to Porch Fest. I didn't go last 2 weekends ago. I just sit on my porch and watch and talk to people, and it's the best thing in the world. And we have our neighborhood we moved into on Magnolia. It was about 15 years ago. There's one little kid, and nobody talked to anybody. And through just some stuff that we did, national night out, barbecues. Now I find out about it the day before because the neighbors are all doing it, and it's just it's a place where you can meet people at their base basically, and you can find out the neighbor that I haven't seen walking for 3 days. You know, walk across the street. Is everything okay? You know, it's people. You know, being seen, what you talked about is so important at that level, especially with isolation that we have, because I can sit in my house and get everything I need, right? But in reality, it's that personal connection, and it isn't big stuff. It really doesn't have to be big stuff. It's just being out and about with neighbors, and we've been able to, my wife and I have been able to help with the Love Our Neighbors, and that's really, really, really going well. Modesto Neighborhoods is going pretty good. Actually, Modesto Neighborhood took Porch Fest as a sponsor. We're the fiscal sponsor for them, so they use our 501c3 and get our insurance and stuff like that to make it the real deal. And that's a little thing in the background that nobody knows about, but those are important little things that we connect. But relationships is. Hi, what do you want? Oh, 15 seconds.
Yeah,
You got it first.
You got it first.
So everybody can relax.
So bringing people together, you already answered the question, so I'm going to go over to Kate. So, yeah. So bringing people together is the heart of community bridge building, bringing people together, and Brad had just mentioned that, how he's done that in so many ways. How is it the center of your work? How is bringing people together the center of your work?
Yeah, it's in every way. So I named my company Connect 4 FOR because when I tried to think of what I wanted to call the work that I was doing, there was one thing that was like just persistently true, which was that the quality of our interactions with each other was the answer to any sustained, meaningful change. And that doesn't mean we have to always get along with each other. Many of you who've been in a room with me hear me talk about strong relationships as our willingness to be influenced by people. And I think that, so nothing that I do happens without connection. And that connection doesn't always look, I mean, like when the mayor said that I'm sure there are other people in the country who would step into some of the spaces that I've stepped into, and maybe not many of them. Like sometimes these connections are hard and heartbreaking, but also I think we have to let our hearts break together in order for us to heal the things that need healing. So there's just nothing for us to do without connection, not on these really hard, vexing kinds of challenges that we're confronted by.
Just can you share, just real quick, you've been a part of just some of the racial reconciliation and some of those conversations. Just as broad as you can, or tell us what you can and can't say, but how have you been a part of that? This was not on the script, so.
I think I'm going to tell a quick story.
Okay.
I think many of the people.
Get your thing ready.
I know, she's ready. I'm gonna keep it real brief.
Tissue, do you think?
No, I'm gonna keep this really brief. So many of you know that I convene a group called Project Resolve, which includes almost every law enforcement executive in the county and an equal or greater number of community members. I think you cannot argue the fact that there are historic racial divides and that persist in our communities between many communities and our local law enforcement agencies, and often despite many good intentions and best efforts on behalf of all communities and law enforcement. The current state of that exists for our immigrant families, I think the protests that we're seeing is another opportunity for things to go very sideways in ways that they aren't already. I'm not suggesting they are not already going very sideways. But what I'm observing is that because of some of the spaces I've had the honor of helping to design, which I don't do by myself, there are conversations happening in this community between unlikely partners that I think would not have happened if it weren't for someone, I'm not saying it's because of me, but if it weren't for someone creating the conditions for us to tell the truth, for us to say we're in pain, for people to believe that we're in pain, I don't care what side of whatever you're on. And so now I have partners calling police chiefs and police chiefs calling partners and saying, how do we keep people safe? Tell me what your community is experiencing. Allow me to learn from you all the way around. That is a fragile state. It doesn't always hold, but the moments that I observe are like hope embodied.
Thanks. Well, now, in your work, how are you bringing people together, connecting people as a bridge builder? Well, and I'm going to come back to you with each one of your stories.
Okay. So, being a woman of a certain age, and the basic
season.
Being a woman that's seasoned, and with a heart to serve, because someone's helped me. There's something about when people help you, honestly help you, that sparks the urge to give back. I'm not getting ready to get religious, but I believe that you should not turn that voice off. You should listen and follow it. And so what has happened for me, being this woman, is that I knew a lot of my limitations. And part of that was building relationships, suggested to come to Catalyst, suggested to have relationships or spark conversation. I forget how y'all introduced it, but about 5 years ago, that was what started. And so my answer to that is relationships and collaborations and being honest with another individual, because a lot of my insecurities, especially in the beginning, and even now, I mean, I have not overcame it. This is not easy for me. But people respect your honesty more than pretending or acting as if you got it and you don't. And so in that honesty, I've established some relationships, some heartfelt, long-lasting relationships, and in those relationships, collaborations were developed. And so I work with several county organizations that are within this county to house men. And so to answer the question, relationship, collaboration.
Yeah. Oh, I got religious there, didn't I? I just got twitch. Way to go. All right, that's good. Kate, do you have a story? Yeah, yes. Oh yeah, can we come back? Was that your story? I'm going to come back to you in a minute here. We'll go to Kate. But that's just a specific story. Now, I hold a story for myself is that I can only brag to my friends.
Yeah.
So whether it's true or not, when I go to a friend, if I brag to you, that means, you're my friend. So we want to celebrate with you a good story, a win.
I mean, I feel like
Right,
what
about
I just
yourself.
shared feels like a win. I know I'm
All right.
like, oh, it doesn't happen because of me, and but I certainly am aware of the role that I'm playing, which I take very seriously. So the conversations that I see happening feel like a win. There's a lot of time in that same group I was talking about where something would happen, and one of my community members would call me and say, "Can you call the chief? Or can you connect me to the DA's office?" And now that happens less and less because they're just calling each other. That feels like a real win, like getting out of the way. Porch Fest feels like a win. I mean, I feel like my wins are, although I'm a little bit invisible, not invisible, but like behind the curtain or behind the scene, my wins are very visible to me all the time. And that feels amazing.
Good job, Kate. That means you give Brad more time.
Because he needs it.
Yeah, he needs more time. So we give him a little bit more time.
I yield my time.
Yeah.
Somebody at our table mentioned Mary Ann Cannon, and that through the work of Focus on Prevention, which I was heavily involved in the beginning, and watching Kate come through, the big problem was homelessness, and that's something that I grabbed onto because I started to care about the people who were homeless rather than the problem, the societal problem. And I hesitate to share this because we're in the middle of this, but I heard that the shelters are in trouble financially because what happened was we stood up the low barrier shelter right before COVID, and there was COVID funding money available for everything you'd ever want, and it's gone now. And so we built up these systems, and there's 400 people that could be displaced if we keep going the way we were going, because we were getting nowhere. And I've never done this before in all of my work doing things, but I told them I'm taking this over because we're not getting anywhere, and we forgot about those 400 people that we're going to displace them. I'm sure my neighbors are not going to be happy about it either, with 400 people that are out in the streets and peeing on my lawn and stuff, those are real things. But that's not my motivation. My motivation is those people. And then to get the people in the room that have the ability to make decisions and then have to sit down and say the very, very hard things, threats are there were hand grenades going across the table. And there was one situation that one of the individuals or organization said a certain thing, and I said, "You're not going to do that." It's like we're going to take our ball and go. You're not going to do that. You can't do that. What would it do to your face in the community, whether it's government or the private sector or nonprofit? You're not going to do that. So quit saying that. And it's honestly like being a dad. You just have to say no. But having all the time of doing all this stuff has given me the ability to convene, which means the city, the county, and the operator allowed me to come in and do that. And we are very, very, very close to a win-win situation. And it's not at all any of the ideas that they had to begin with, because then none of them were going to work. I've done a fair amount of marriage counseling. It takes two to tango. You can't repair marriage if one of the marriage partners is not interested. And so we had that kind of conflict going on. So I just said, we're not going to be able to work together on this stuff. So let's try a new way. Let's do something that's even better, and everybody loves it. And it's but I just love being in that mix and the hard situations. And you mentioned something about her being what did you say? Season. People ask me, when are you going to retire? I said, I can't retire. I'm at the peak of my life. I've got relationships. I've got wisdom only because I've made every mistake known to man when you're 70 something, and I'm having so much fun and so much influence on watching things change. I'm gonna do this until I can't, and you might want to stop me on the side of the road and say you better quit now, I used to say when I start wetting my pants, that's an they say, well, they have products for that, so you get but it's so much fun to see.
So you're the homeless guy on my lawn.
That's me?
Yeah, me.
Could be.
Oh, okay. Oof.
We're watching
Gave you the
Leah.
look.
Twice.
Yeah.
You know, we'll go to Kate and then Wanda and back to Brad. Oh, she has a sister. Go for it, Wanda.
You remember
Remember of a certain season? Yes, I did.
So two guys come into mind when I looked at that question. Collaboration and relationships are so important that I took on two guys that came from a community organization that dealt with the mental health. But I wasn't aware that they were on medication. And so after about a week in the house, like behavior started changing. It's like, what's going on here? I mean, you guys are like, excuse me, but off the hook. It's like, what is it? And so I called the agency and it's like, you didn't tell me that they came from transitional housing and that their medication was being supervised. And at the end of the day, what I do is basically landlord-tenant. So I had to treat them as a tenant. It's like, what? I can't just say, bye, you. And so, I was this was a learning curve for me to ask better questions. But also, I sat down with them and had a real adult conversation and said, at this level of living, you're in independent living and you need to be independent. Do you want to go back to the housing situation that you came from? Do you want to go further to be independent? Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to take showers. You're gonna have to take your medication. And there were some other things that I added, but what I did do, because one of them was on quite a few medications and they were AM and PM, is that I bought the pill organizers and we sat down and for a week I would come by in the morning and did you take your morning? Did you take your evening? And after a while he began to be responsible and their levels came down. Their room was clean. They were showering every day. And I mean, it was like, you guys have to shower twice a day because it was summertime. And they were big guys. It's like, no, come on. You want to get in my car too? It's like that. And so, but what I'm saying that because it wasn't sad. It was that they needed to learn. No one had ever talked to them about hygienes or about making up their bed. And both of them are in their own living situation now. And so I'm happy for that.
That's great. You can keep the mic because we're going to come back. The last question is about humanness. We celebrate your victories. When we do, we think you're amazing. On the other hand, there are challenges, personal challenges, just the things that the human challenges, the personal ones that you have a hard time just overcoming that face you regularly. I call them soundtracks in my head, but they could be anything for you.
Yeah, the negative self-talk, I want to call it. As I was saying, being seasoned and with a basic education and none in business, absolutely nothing in housing. It was challenging just to navigate in that arena, if you would. And so through being transparent and vulnerable with colleagues and other members of the community, I was able to get some resources. And just by telling people the truth, it's like, hey, I'm nervous. I can't talk. I mean, I was in a conference once and I met a president of one of the banks and it was like, my mouth stuck together. It was like, what? I said, I'm nervous. She said, I'm a human just like you. I said, but I'm still nervous. And so through some personal work, I've been able to overcome a lot. Even to just sit here is an accomplishment for me. And then the second one was talking to men and supporting them. Because what I found is that the way I started out is not the way I am now. If I am to help men, I have to, I'm a woman and he's a man, and there's a distinct difference in how we communicate. And I had to learn how to communicate to get positive results with the men. And now I can pretty freely navigate relationships with all of them. And that there's a level of respect that I have for them and a level of respect that they have for me. And I rarely have to repeat myself because I built a level of trust and that I don't, there's certain things that a woman should, I hate to be sexist.
Don't look at me.
I hate to be sexist, but it's not sexist, it's a reality that there's a certain role that men play in society and there's a certain role that women play in society. And it's neither one of them are less than the other. They're just different. And so in understanding that difference has benefited me extremely, and I'm getting better at it. I'm not perfect yet, but I give them the freedom to say, they call me Miss Wanda, I don't agree with that. And I try to make sure that they understand that they don't have to agree with me, but they have to respect me.
Don't look at me about this sexist comment.
I'm not,
Don't
it
get involved in
wasn't
that. You can
sexist.
clap for her, sorry. Okay, humanness here, humanity here. It's your,
I have zero trouble.
okay.
No problems.
That's-
I'm healthy and well.
You're trying to brag.
Give you that.
Yeah, you'll need the time, I know, Brad.
So something, Wanda, that you said about telling the truth is resonating with me a lot. So I choose to do 80% of my work in Stanislaus County. And there's a lot of reasons I choose that, but one of the benefits has been that I have very deep, meaningful relationships with most of the people that I work with. And so when I'm having a hard time, because I'm a solo practitioner, or like when I need a day, or a minute, or I need someone to stop being mean to me, or like I can just say, I think I've gotten practiced at asking for what I need, but I burn out. I mean, my work is hard. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. They're here. And I'm a giver and I'm a fixer, and I worry pretty persistently about whether I'm letting people down. I want to show up in ways that matter for as many people as I can, and I get very tired. And I'm surrounded by a family, a husband who is endlessly supportive. I have very accessible parents. I have a sister who's my best friend. And I have a community of clients and other people who I think truly care in the way that I care for them. And I think a lot of that has to do with me working where I was raised. So,
The humanity of this all, the reason I bring it up is sometimes we have these award ceremonies, and it's easy sometimes for people to think, oh my gosh, they're just so perfect, and oh my, and then they start doing the negative soundtrack of, I stink, I'm a loser, maybe I'm just, for me, I do that, so sometimes. So I want to just humanize this a little bit. How can we celebrate humanness?
Well, I don't view myself as better than anybody. I love people. I pay attention to the waitress. I pay attention to the person that's sweeping. Not like it's something I have to do. It's just I honor them as a person, and that I think that comes through. But the things that because I'm a fixer, I know the solution. I know the solution, and it's just getting everybody to agree to it. I used to approach things that way, and I spent my life very frustrated. And now what I do, we're working on a housing project that could be a big thing for Stanislaus County, building units that your kids and grandkids could afford to buy, and 100% private money. Well, every week something comes up that just is ready to blow the side out, and I'm learning to just, if God's really in control of this, I really shouldn't have to worry that that's gonna, and I watch how that attitude makes it so much more peaceful in my mind. I sleep better. I'm not, all stressed out about it because, okay, the fact that Patterson has said no to something that is pivotal, okay, we'll just have a meeting and work it out. You know, we'll get there eventually. And it almost never looks like what I thought it should look like when we get there. But you got to be willing to morph and move based on what you need to do. But somebody in the group has to have an eye on the goal. And that's usually me. I'm the guy that says, no, this is where we're going. I know you're talking about this, but this is where we're going. And you can do those things when you have a relationship. You couldn't do anything without relationships. That man would not listen to you if you weren't for real. And that's what it is being yourself, everybody knows we've got problems. I know more of your problems than you know.
Yes, you do. Let's change the subject. Put the card up for Brian. You want a word?
No, he just handed it to me.
Oh. Well, thank you so much, the three of you. The reason I want to do the last question is so many times, you're amazing people. You are amazing and you're accomplishing amazing things. On the other hand, you do go to bed at night, all the lights are out, you're by yourself, and sometimes it's just hard. It's just difficult with all the responsibilities and your heart to serve and care for people. And I want to encourage them that they can be more than that what they're doing.
I want to say one more thing. The thing that's helped me the most personally is to quit judging people. There's so much room in my mind now that I was taking all my energy into judging everybody.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
And I tell you, that has transformed and brought peace that I never knew could happen, which gives me more oomph to go do the things that need to be done.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah, he and I have talked about that. Thank you for your so much. You know, it is so good to celebrate examples, positive examples, community bridge builders, whatever that would be, to celebrate that which we want repeated. And so I want to encourage you, around you as well, you've got bridge builders, you've got people that are doing positive things and being positive things, whether it's teacher, it could be anybody. I don't want to give examples. So I just want to say to you, it's really good to celebrate these men and women and all that they do. And then especially that word quiet, it's been one that has really jumped out at me this morning. I want to encourage you, if you know a quiet, sacrificial servant, just give them and send them a text. Say, hey, just thinking about you, celebrate you. I just think the world of you, I'll buy you coffee. Whatever that would be, just to celebrate them. Let's do that in our community. We are, America, I'll just say America is really good at pushing the buttons of that which we don't want repeated or the negative. And I want to encourage us all. Let's reward what we want repeated. These three are examples of that. And you are too. So thank you so much. David, you want to?
I would love to, Marvin. Thank you. Thank you, Marvin. I appreciate that. And thank you to our 3 award recipients. That was fantastic. If you've been to Catalyst before, you know we normally go back to table talks and wonderful things like that. But due to time, we're going to skip to the finale. So I'm going to invite up Quinn Rogers. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. For 1 second, she thought, this is now the worst day of my life. Just for a moment there. But to close, I do want to repeat back to you a couple of things that I heard that really resonated and stood out to me, just from this discussion. God knew people had helped me, so I needed to help back. Don't turn the voice off. That was good. I need that sometimes. I want to live in a community in which my children and neighbors enjoy. I heard comments about hard conversations and creative thinking, which are a necessary part of life. We want to create conditions to have a conversation and tell the truth. Don't forget relationships. We heard that, I think, repeated. If there was a common thread, one of the many common threads, don't forget relationships. Being seen is so important. We need it as individuals, and it's something that we can give to others at no cost to ourselves. And one of the big ones for me, care about the people instead of the problem. If there's a path to a solution, it's that one right there. Care about the people instead of the problem. If you'd like to know a little bit more about anyone who's up here, Wanda and Kate especially we have websites that you can visit. You can learn a little bit more how to be supportive of them. So I'm going to close today with a quote from John Wesley. John Wesley founded the Methodist Church. I attended the Methodist Church when I was 7 days old, and have been there ever since. This quote is probably going to sound familiar to a lot of you, but it'll be the closing thought for today. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. We'd love to invite you back to Catalyst next month. It'll be the first Thursday in July. Thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate your presence. We appreciate your relationship. And go and be neighborly. Thank you.